I am over the moon, ecstatic about the conversation I'm getting ready to have with Dr. Katja Rusanen. And she's a new connection of mine, but wow, birds of a feather, we fly together. And I have been loving getting to know you, Katja. You are a beautiful soul doing some amazing things on the planet to awaken and raise consciousness. So great to have you part of this leadership summit. A little bit about Katja. She has been on the spiritual path for a very long time, had her own awakening, which is an incredible story in itself. And you can listen to that on my Wounds to Wisdom podcast, because that's going to be an incredible transmission as well. Dr. Katja Rusanen is a #1 best-selling author and spiritual counselor. She guides purpose-driven individuals to make peace with their past and reach their full potential. And I love that part of, making peace with the past and then stepping into your soul purpose. She's also has an amazing podcast that is all about soul purpose and soul purpose work. So excited about your new book that's getting ready to come out as well, Katja. So nice to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure and honor to share some insights and inspiration with your audience.
Yes, definitely. Oh my goodness. Shall we just dive right on in?
Why not? Let's go.
Let's go. Let's do this. Okay. I get very excited about leadership. It is such an interesting conversation to have. And so I am really looking forward to hearing your perspective on leadership. So, what is leadership? When you just hear the word leadership, what does it mean to you?
It is interesting to think about the word itself, like leader, and then there's the ship, like let's go together. And that's really what leadership is for me, like inspiration for others. Like as we lead, we are just leading with example. It comes for me as an opportunity to inspire others to do the best they can on their journey. And it isn't about control. It isn't about forcing people to do anything. It is leading them into the action that is the next step for them, or encouraging them, inspiring them, and having that consciousness within your leadership, because it is leading with the heart, leading with love, and also the commitment for your own growth as well as the growth of others.
I love that. And actually, when you said leader and ship, I just imagine like all these leaders getting onto a ship and sailing the seas together. And
Yes, and that is a collaboration, because the boat ain't moving anywhere if you don't have a team. Because it's like, how can we get the boat moving? It is working together, collaborating, and just supporting each others towards the common goal.
absolutely. I love that. Like one of my favorite sayings is the tide that rises lifts all boats, and how, collaboration, not competition. And, that's how we came together. We're doing some similar work and soul-driven work. And how can we collaborate together to lift each other up? And that, yeah, that is the what I get really passionate and excited about. And that's how you and I connected as well. So it's beautiful. Thank you. And so, do you consider yourself a leader?
I do. And I believe all of us are leaders, leaders of our own life. We are like the CEOs of our own lives. So everyone is a leader. And then some of us have the leadership just personal level. Some of us feel called to step up and share being a thought leaders in the world. And it just depends what level of leadership you are called to do. But I believe all of us are leaders, and it's just not about the titles or positions in the companies. It is taking the ownership of your life. And it is really as well seeing yourself as the leader in your own life. I think that's really a key. And it hasn't been always that case for me. And later on, I then discovered like my life path is the one, and that is a lot to do with the leadership and stepping into those shoes to be going on your own direction. Being a pioneer is another thing I love to do, and it's just choosing my own path, which which has led me here to do the work that I do today. But it is also having the opportunity to take that ownership of your own life and making your own decisions that work for you. So I'm just encouraging everyone to taking and claiming that ownership. You are a leader. You are a leadership of your own life.
Absolutely. And when did you discover that you were a leader?
I think it came in the early ons. Like I remember I practiced martial arts. I did karate for many years, over 10 years. And that's a very structured. There is always a teacher and there is the order of the belts and all that. And I remember this was one of the training camps. And of course, there you do whatever the trainer is telling you to do. It's a very disciplined sport. And I remember this, and I think I was like 17, 18. We were in a training camp. And I remember when we were running there, and that is kind of following the guidance. And I remember thinking of that, like, I actually like to be the leader because I did that as well for. I was sharing the wisdom. Then I had a group of youngsters who I was teaching, and I was like, I like that more than running in somebody else's order to doing things. So I think that was one of the early moments to starting to think that I actually like to lead more than follow.
Great. All right. That's a
Mhm.
really great discovery to make.
Yeah.
Um, I love that. That's a great answer. Thank you so much. And what does old paradigm leadership compared to new paradigm leadership mean to you?
I think there is a lot of the old paradigm leadership. It's often rooted in hierarchy, like we had in karate. It's a very disciplined and it's a very there is certain titles. There is a lot of control in the old leadership. Or at least it's often connected that there is the control, external power, often also ego-driven leadership can be there. It's often the dominance over others more than the collaboration, and it's sometimes how would I put it? Sometimes it's more like telling others what to do instead of leading them. It is uh, it is often disconnecting from the heart and leading with more with the mind.
What does new feminine paradigm leadership mean to you when you hear those words strung together? The new awaken the new feminine paradigm.
I feel that often is feminine is often this is the stereotypes, like it's often connected with the softer values and intuition, compassion, nurturing, and it is more the supportive format of leadership, like supporting people to reach their goals, to reach a full potential, and being able then to support that common goal that we might have. And it is maybe also connecting more with the emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, and that can lead then to even better strategic action. And how I see though, it's the like this masculine and feminine, it is finding what's the best in the both worlds and combining them. And that's more what I would say it comes forward is more the soul-centered leadership. And it is also allowing us to see ourselves as souls having this human experience. And leadership is one way to practice as well. What can we learn through this leadership roles or positions that we might have on life or even in our own life? Like, how can we lead with loving? How can we support others on their journey and always seeing the best in others, because we can see that person as a soul going through their own learning journey. And that's something I bring forward in the book, is that we have our spiritual curriculum here. So what are we learning through these experiences? What are we learning through communication and collaboration with each others? Because that way we can then bring that leadership if we are leading others on this journey, whatever way that will be. So if we see this as an opportunity for learning for us, as well as the others are learning through that experience, it just shifts a little bit the perspective, and we can use all these experiences we have here for our growth, learning, and upliftment. So I feel it's picking up the best from the both worlds, and finding a way that serves us and supports the common goals that we have.
And Dr. Katja, where do you live in the world? Just curious.
I am currently living in a very beautiful place in Spain called Marbella. And originally, I'm from Finland, if you wonder where this accent is from. So, originally from Finland, but I have been living abroad since 2002.
Oh, wow. Yes, I was wondering where your accent was from. So good to get a little backstory of where you're from and where you live. And do you think that leadership means different things in different parts of the world?
I think so, because that comes from the cultural backgrounds that we have as well. And it is like I come from a country that has that balance, like males and females. Of course, there is still work to do in that field, but like we are seen quite equal. So we are used to, we had even a female president, we had a female prime minister. So it is, again, we have seen females in those leadership roles. And that I think is very, very helpful. So it's not only seeing males, but like seeing like, wow, we can as well to be leaders in even political fronts. So that has also history, of course, how we ended up there. We had a war, and that time females had to step up because most of the men were in the war. So we needed to, females needed to step up and support the country. And I think that after that, it kind of stayed that way. And we have a lot of strong females in Finland, but I think there is a big cultural influence how you see leadership, who you see in the leadership positions, how they tend to lead, what kind of leadership styles are happening in your country, because I think that all kind of becomes a pattern that we see, and it becomes the norm. And then when we are aiming to bring something new, it often, anything new, any change, there is often resistance about the change. That's just normal human reaction. We don't want change, even though change is always happening. So then we need that strength to keep going and bringing forward something new to the world. And then there happens, the paradigm shift happens when more and more people are tuned into that different frequency or different way of doing things, then it becomes more as a norm. And that's what we want also to bring into leadership, I believe, like bringing in the good things from the feminine leaderships and allowing us all to also raise that level of awareness we have here, seeing things more and more from the soul's perspective.
What a wonderful, wonderful answer. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about your culture. And, I'm an American living in New Zealand for over 25 years, but I also lived in Sweden for almost 4 years. And what really, caught my attention was how strong the women are. And we've had a couple prime ministers here in New Zealand that were women, and a lot of amazing leaders in Sweden that are women. And so that's modeled and it's part of the culture. And I could really tell a difference in the strength of the women, in the way they walk, in the way they carry themselves, the way that they speak, that has been modeled for them. And so I really want that for America too, being very close to my heart because that's where I was born. So thank you. That really helps. That was a really, really, really beautiful share. Thank you, Katja. Oh, so good to have you part of this leadership summit. Like just that right there. That's been my favorite share so far.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Absolutely. And what does power, when you hear the word power, what does that mean to you?
The words that came forward within me was power of love.
Wow.
And connecting that power with love, because I believe the true power comes from within. It is really allowing us to tap into the strength that all of us have. Like the power of love, when we lead with love, when we lead with wisdom, when we lead with self-awareness, it is the way forward. And I think the world really, truly needs now people to connect more and more with their hearts, because that will bring forward the new energy and like allowing us to do positive changes in the world. And no, it's not always easy, but we need to keep going. We just need to have the spark of hope, because when we have hope, we can see that it's possible. So let's not lose hope, even when there is negativity, when there is a lot of suffering and challenging things happening in the world. We need to tap into that power that is within us and radiate that love and use the connection that we can have with the higher realms, with the soul, with having spiritual assistance to support us here in the world, and tapping in that power that resides within you, and that is greater than you, even like that energy, as you remember who you truly are, that you are love and light manifested here, and you are here for a mission. So if you are tuning in, I sure believe that you have a soul's mission here. And it is time now to activate that soul's mission, activate the power within you, so that you are willingly taking those steps forward and fulfilling your part here, because we all play parts here in this bigger picture of the life. So we all have power, and if it is within.
Absolutely. I love that answer. I 100% agree with you. Yeah. Anadea Judith talks about the global heart awakens, and that as far as the chakras go, that is where we're at, is opening up that heart chakra on a worldwide level. And so, coming back to that place of love, even when we get triggered by people that are not so nice. And that's the challenge, right? We can go, oh, yeah, it's all about love. It's all about peace. It's all about happiness. But can we do that when we're triggered and when we're dealing with people that are really, really mean?
Really pushing our buttons. And that's like when I studied at the University of Santa Monica, we called these people staggers. And they are the people who somehow know what buttons to push. And they are just coming to help you. By the way, this is like, because they push the buttons so you can heal that thing. Like, just next time, test it out. When somebody's really pushing your buttons, just check in. What is it really that you're getting upset about? Because often it's not just that thing. Often it's connected with other things on your journey. And just because that person pushed that button, all these things come up, and then we sometimes even explode because it's just the last drop we needed. So it's again an opportunity then to look, okay, has this happened before? What has been going on? And then have support like Schamet or me or somebody else to support you to clear those things. So it is often challenging. You can do this work on your own, but often it's challenging because we are emotionally triggered, and often we might not even want to go there. But then when there is somebody else holding a lantern for you, holding the light, it's easier to see like, okay, because this happened. Okay, now I see there is a pattern, and now I can see what have I learned through these experiences. And when that happens, the whole energy shifts. And then next time somebody else comes to push that button, the button is not anymore there. It's like, okay, we have that inner peace.
So true. I talk about in my Wounds to Wisdom Oracle about how the treasures are found in our triggers. And
Yes.
I 100% believe that because it's been my life story of like, wherever that trigger is, there is a treasure and an opportunity for healing and for growth. So you're quite right. The people that do the little change makers that push our buttons, they're actually there to serve us. And yeah, I 100% agree with that. It has been my experience.
Yeah. And that takes a little bit that self-awareness, spiritual awareness to be able to see them as as making a service for us. And I get it. Like in the beginning, it's like, oh, why does that person do it? But like then later on, when you really get that treasure, you can see it, and you might even say thank you to that person. So it's possible.
Absolutely. And that's a form of leadership, leading yourself through that experience. You know, the first step is awareness and finding that languaging around it. And like you said, getting the support around it. But that is leadership, being able to turn your mess into your message and your triggers into your treasures. So great. Thank you so much. Oh, that was really, really fun. Okay, so my next question is, who are your admired leaders? Like, who do you look up to, or not necessarily look up to, but who really lights you up inside that hold the qualities of leadership for you?
That is such a good question. And there are many leaders, often when they are connected with love, often when they are connected with a mission created themselves, like that is a mission that is uplifting the world, that is just bringing me that inspiration, bringing me some form of it's kind of like a light bulb moment when I see those people. And as I was thinking, like, okay, coming here to talk about leadership, I was thinking like, who do I see as the leaders? And one character, and this is like historical character, came to my mind because I was like wow, that time, being a female and being in a leadership role, that was something extraordinary. And that person is Joan d'Arc. So she was a French.
Oh my goodness, I knew you were going to say that. I love her too. Yes.
But like, think about that time. This peasant girl who didn't even know how to write became a military leader, leading soldiers. Like, I was like, how in the earth did she do that? But that is she was so committed to her mission that she felt called to do, that belief in her just inspired others. And that's kind of like when I tune into her energy and her mission here, I'm like seeing this, her riding on that white horse and like just, I am going. And whether you come after me, I'm not looking and checking, are you joining me? I'm going because this is my mission. This is what I came here to do. And that inspired others. Then that made them to say, yes, we stand with you. We come with you. And I'm just so inspired that energy and that belief. And I feel like that's something to tap into, that belief within you, believing in your mission, whatever that calling is in your heart, that you are just committed to it because that inspires others to join you and support you on your mission. Because it is really so inspiring. So many years after that, like now I still, this day, can be inspired Joan d'Arc and her mission here and her courage and strength and how she was able to channel the wisdom that came through her without even having any background in this military field, but she channeled the wisdom, and I just find it so inspiring.
That is so inspiring. And it's so true, isn't it? When you can inspire others and invoke that kind of dedication and commitment. And it comes from having a mission and being true to it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that answer. And it's so true because if you tell somebody to do something, I've got 2 teenagers, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. But if you inspire them, it's a totally different energy. Mm.
Right.
Mm.
So nobody likes really to be told to. Like, we don't like
No,
that.
I don't like it either. But
Yeah,
if
like,
I'm inspired, it's a whole different story.
that's right. So that's really thinking like, okay, how can I? If you're in a leadership role in a company or other places, so how can I inspire others so that
I think that is a really big distinction between the old paradigm way of leading and the new paradigm of leadership as well. So that was a great story to really paint that picture beautifully. I know I feel inspired. I'm like, yes, Joan of Arc. I love her.
I thought you might connect with her too.
Yeah, absolutely. I've already done my leadership interview and I forgot to mention her, but I would add her now. So I'm adding her. I'm putting my hand up. Me too.
Love that.
Yeah, great. Okay. And so you've already talked a little bit about the qualities that you find in a leader that is important to you, like love and bravery and being true to your mission. But are there some more qualities that you can share with us that you find in a new paradigm leadership that you love?
Yes, so love definitely is there. And another thing is like we touched that as well. It's that self-awareness and soul awareness, like being aware of your own journey and how you operate here in the world, because we all have our own styles, but then also seeing others and being able sometimes to listen to others and listen what do they need, And that has been, as I have had some leadership positions in my career, so that has been really a key lesson I have learned, to listen. It's not always about to share, but it's also like being that open door policy, like share with me, because that's the way we can learn, when we hear others out. Because sometimes you get the best ideas when you collaborate, when you have that openness to hear different perspectives, because that can also up level things to the next level, because we get that, okay, that idea brought me one thing and you brought me another thing, and now when we put it together, it's the masterpiece. So it is coming, if we are open to listen, and we are not shutting people with different opinions out, but we hear them out, and then we can tune in and find the best solution to move forward. And another thing I want to mention here is the compassion, like understanding people are on their own journey. And sometimes on that journey, we all go forward, whether it's personally or whether it's the other people around us, but we go ups and downs in life. But having that compassion and seeing the world through the soul's perspective, as I say, like seeing how can we, as souls, as we are going through this human experience, find the loving, find the support and kindness in through our actions. Because even if it's a little thing, sometimes that can make that person's day, make that person's year. So like those kindness does matter. And especially if you're stepping into that leadership positions. So being aware of your actions and choose kindness whenever possible.
I love that. I love that so much. And it brought up a memory as you were speaking about how I'm very generous with my compliments. Like I always say the truth. I don't just fluff people, but I say, "Oh gosh, you look beautiful," or "Gosh, I love your sweater," or something. It's just part of who I am. I've always been like this. My mom's like this, my sister's like this. It kind of runs in the family. We're very generous with our kindness and our compassion and our compliments. And this person said to me, "Oh, you probably shouldn't do that. It makes people feel awkward," and then I thought, "Oh gosh, am I making people feel awkward?" And they said, "Oh, well, Schamet, maybe in America this is a good thing to do, but in New Zealand, people are British and they're private and they get embarrassed by the compliments." And I was like, "Oh, goodness me." And so then I held back and I stopped doing it, but it felt so awkward not to just be authentically me in the world. And so then I just started doing it again. And I was at a hardware store and I went up to this woman. Oh my goodness, Katja, she was beautiful. And I just told her, I said, "You are so beautiful." And she started crying and she was uncomfortable. And she said, "Thank you so much. No one has ever told me this before." I said, "What?" And she says, "I'm 72 and no one has ever told me that I'm beautiful." I said, "Oh my goodness, that's so sad. You're so beautiful." And she says, "I really needed to hear this today." And she gave me a big hug. And she says, "You made my day." And I said, and then I started crying and I was like, "You made my day." And I told her what happened to me. And she goes, "Oh no, you keep being you. You do you."
Yeah.
It's really
Absolutely.
important. And she was walking higher after she left the hardware store.
Yeah.
She needed to hear that. And so that was a really good kind of reflection of, yes, it may make people feel uncomfortable. It may bring up emotion when you step into your leadership and your authenticity, but you never know how important your message is for someone else. And I I mean, I could not believe that no one ever told her how beautiful she was, because she was the most beautiful 72-year-old woman I have ever seen. And she needed to hear my words. So, yeah, what you're saying is 100% true. And I know someone else that gave a compliment to a bus driver, and a week later, the bus driver told that person that he was contemplating suicide. And because of the compliment that was given to him, he decided to live. So, yeah,
Mm,
you just never know how what you're going to say lands for someone else.
yeah, and that can be even a little thing, whether it's saying a compliment, whether it's even smiling. Like if you feel called to say something, do it, because that might be your angels and guidance. Like, just let's just support that person. And yeah, kindness do matter. And I love, Shamat, you complimented me when I joined. That comes so naturally for you. So keep spreading that light and love, because you make people also feel good. So keep going.
Thank you. One of my favorite movies is Amelie, the French film, and she goes around
Oh,
spreading her little fairy dust everywhere. And that's kind of how I see I'm like, did it do at the post office, at the grocery store, spreading the little
yeah,
happiness glitter everywhere I go. I try to be a lighthouse in the world as much as possible. And I really do feel that is a form of leadership, because it's not always easy to share that. Yeah. Thank
yeah.
you. Oh my goodness, we are having so much fun. So here's a really, really big question for you, and I'm so eager to find out what you're going to say. So if you were made leader of the world and you got to make change, yeah, where would you start? What would you do?
Oh my goodness. I think I would do a little prayer. That's where I would start, most likely, like tuning in, connecting, because there is also guidance coming through. So I would definitely tap into spiritual assistance and getting that connection with the soul and higher realms to be able to make as good decisions as I could. But it is really also for anyone, it would be being able to connect with love again. And that comes often on my own journey. I felt that there was a lot of moments when I was blocking love away from my life because of what has happened in the past. So then finding a way to heal, finding a way to connect with loving, that brought joy back into my life. And I would feel that that kind of support, if we would be able to have support on our journey to make peace with our past, would also shift the awareness here. So allowing us to move forward lighter, raise our level of awareness, and be more loving towards ourselves as well as others. So it would be bringing that soul awareness into the world even more. And it starts within each and every one of us. And that is a choice that we can make. And I would be promoting that choice and supporting those who would be willing to say yes. And that way we would just shift the energy here, shift the level of awareness, and then maybe those who are not that willing yet would follow, so that we would inspire them, because they would be like, huh, those people are having so much fun. So I want to join them.
Absolutely. Can you imagine if the leader of the world was basing everything on what you're talking about, love and kindness? Wow, that would really be the new paradigm.
Yeah,
Mm.
that would be something else. Like we would be bringing the heaven to earth, and that's something we can start doing. It doesn't need to be in the distant future. We can start experiencing that within us. So that inner shift can then lead to the outer change too. So each and every one now right here, how can you bring extra dose of loving into your life? And if you feel I am already 100% in loving, congratulations, let's celebrate you. But for the rest of us, it's like, what can I do? What can I think? What can I feel to bring more loving into my life? Because that way we start recharging the battery here in the earth to be more and more loving.
Absolutely. I love that so much. It's each and every one of us. Each and every one of us can make that shift in consciousness. And are there any last and final pearls of wisdom that you would like to share with us today?
What I would like to share is really that your past does not need to equal your future. Like, if you have gone through challenging times, many of us have, but it doesn't need to mean that the rest of your life needs to be suffering. You can liberate yourself. You can do inner works to find that peace. And that way you are liberating yourself from the prison of your past. And that is a contribution to this earth. And it is awakening the love and awareness within you. And that way you can step into even more to that role that you have here and step into even more leading with love.
I love that. Thank you so much. What an amazing conversation. I'm so grateful. And so, Katja, you have a new book coming out. Can you tell us a little bit about it? So exciting.
Absolutely. So my book is called Your Spiritual Curriculum: 5 Steps to Make Peace with Your Past and Transform Your Future. And it is giving you very tangible steps what you can do in case you have things in your past you haven't fully made peace yet. You might have worked on them and you always feel like it's like never-ending onion. Like you just peel another layer and layer and layer and it just keeps going. And that's where I bring this new way of seeing your past. We are actually rewriting your past. We can't change the past, but we can rewrite the stories you tell. And that starts shifting you to a place where you can create a different future for yourself. So it is giving these steps and very much like practical things, how you can create a different future for you, where you can succeed, where you can thrive after trauma. So that's what I love helping people to do. And it's amazing what's possible with these methods. They are proven methods. I have tested them myself as well as a group with when I studied doctorate in spiritual science. So it is based on proven methods, and these are the methods that can bring you that peace that will last.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I understand you have your doctorate in spirituality as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I have my doctorate in spiritual science, and that is all about this, like learning how to see life from soul's perspective, because we are multidimensional human beings. So how do you then see yourself as a soul? And how do you make peace with your past? How do you have that greater level of awareness of your thoughts, feelings, your actions, and how they all contribute into your soul's learning through this human experience. So it was a fascinating study journey that I did, and really now love sharing the wisdom that I gained to help others as well to have the greater level of awareness of themselves as well as their soul.
Wow, that is so fascinating. You are so fascinating. I absolutely love you
Oh,
and
thank
all the
you.
work
Love
you've been
you
doing.
too. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. It's been a long journey, and it is a way for me also to gain those answers. Like I was 16 when I went through traumatic life experience, when I lost my boyfriend to suicide, and that left me with the question why. And I have
Mm,
been on this journey and looking for the answer. And now I have this book where I share the answer that I found. And if you have been seeking answers in your life, like why this is happening to me, this book will bring you answers too.
I love that. I love how we, new thought leaders, in my opinion, almost always have a wounds to wisdom to superpower story. And that's yours. Your boyfriend committed suicide, and that was a wound, right? And then you went about finding these answers, which then cultivated your wisdom that you now are sharing, and it has become one of your superpowers. So that's beautiful. It's a beautiful story. I think that most leaders, new thought leaders, have some sort of wounds to wisdom story. Their why, their mess becomes their message, and yours is a beautiful and powerful one. And I'm looking forward to reading your book, Katja, because I'm definitely going to get a copy signed, sent to me in New Zealand when it's out. And do you have any freebies for everyone?
Yes, I would love to share my Feel Lighter meditation series. So it is 3 meditations that will support you in case you have some emotional turmoil. So the first meditation to help you clear and find greater clarity. In the other second meditation, we will connect with your soul's wisdom. So I will support you through the meditation to do that connection. And then in the third one, it's a really fun one because we start co-creating with spirit. So that is supporting you to find those next steps. So this is my gift for you. And I really wish that you will say yes to feeling lighter.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Meditation, 3-part series meditation, clearing and then manifesting. Ah, my cup of tea. I want the freebie too. Oh, thank you, Katya, for your time, your energy, your wisdom, and your stories, and your perception of what leadership means to you. Because every time we have these conversations, that is awakening consciousness. And I know for me, these conversations have awoke me to greater levels of awareness and help me step into my power, into my soul purpose. And so those of you that are listening today, make sure you sign up for Katya's free gifts, and follow her on Facebook, Instagram, all her social media channels, which I'm putting in the link below. And so many blessings to you, Katja, and looking forward to that Wounds to Wisdom podcast episode 2. So those of you that are listening, I will put the link below for that as well. So much love and so many blessings to you, Katja.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Schamet.